What's going on, everyone? We just got a huge state of the game update today, so if you haven't checked it out, or if you don't want to read all 6,500 words of it, I'll try to summarize all the key points for you in this video. So the way how we'll do this, we'll try to get through everything first, and then I'll give my thoughts on it at the very end. The first thing they cover is ritual updates for next season. Sounds like they're going to make the exotic engram that you can focus a little bit easier to obtain for each one of the ritual activities. So now you won't have to do Gambit, Vanguard, and Crucible, all 3 games to do it. Sounds like you can just do 9 of whichever game mode that you want to get those 3 engrams. So they obviously let us know that we'll be getting new ritual weapons for each vendor next season, just like we always do. Nothing huge there. But it does sound like they're excited about the new Nightfall weapon. It's a hand cannon, like a 3-round burst is what it sounds like. It's the Warden's Law, which is a returning weapon from back in the day. Also, another thing that they had mentioned previously, but they brought up again today, is that the new ritual weapons that we get each season, like how we get a new Crucible weapon, a new Vanguard weapon, all of those will be focusable that season. So we're not gonna have to wait until season 23 to focus the new weapon from season 22. Hope that makes sense. Next, we have PvP updates. They let us know that new maps are very tough to make. That's a huge pain point right now in the community. Probably one of the biggest ones is that we just don't have any new maps ever. They said that creating new maps, or even porting old Destiny 1 maps, or even old Destiny 2 maps up to the current version of Destiny 2, requires pulling resources from a lot of other teams, like teams that make the exotic missions. They just said that it's not easy to do, so I don't know if we should expect this to change really at all anytime soon. But we have known for a little bit that we're getting a Vex network map next season, so that's something new. But they revealed the name is called Multiplex. Sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. Here's a picture here for you. There will be a new Crucible modifier to playtest. It sounds like it's going to be slight adjustments to current game modes that we play, like survival, control. But this really is interesting because it sounds like it's going to be more focused on gunplay, and specifically primary gunplay, as special ammo is going to be difficult to get, and ability spam is not going to be existent because abilities are going to take way longer to recharge. So primary ammo is going to be the main focus of this game mode. And this new game mode is called CHECKMATE, by the way. We also have another new game mode called RELIC. This sounds kind of like a Team Scorched or a Mayhem game mode that you really shouldn't take that seriously. But it does sound kind of interesting because we're going to be using the relics that we use in PvP activities, like the Aegis Relic from Vault of Glass, or the Synaptic Spear from PsyOps Battlegrounds, and I think they also have the Scythe from Season of the Haunted. So I don't know if there's going to be any more relics in there. That's just what they announced today. They'll also be giving the usual matchmaking updates, and this is going to address the queue times that a lot of the either really high or really low skill players experience. Very difficult to find a match right now if you're in either one of those categories, so hopefully that speeds it up. We'll have a new Iron Banner mode as well in Season 23. They didn't say what it was going to be called or anything like that, but we know it's coming. And as expected, we'll be getting a new Crucible competitive weapon in Season 23 to replace the sniper we have now. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but this one, I'll put it on screen. And this replacement weapon is going to be a Hake pulse rifle. Moving on to the Vanguard, not too much to talk about because they said that the overall player base is pretty healthy over in Vanguard, so not too many changes need to be made. But one exciting change that I am looking forward to is the addition of Vanguard medals, the ones that we had in Guardian games. They're finally just bringing them into the game because a lot of people really did like that. They did say though that they don't want it to be just a medal farm that you just go in there only to play weapons. They don't want you to make like specific builds just to grind medals. You shouldn't have to like emote and then do a finisher just to get extra points. Let's hope not, at least. And obviously getting more medals means getting a higher tier score, so it goes from bronze all the way up to platinum. If you get platinum, you're going to get more XP towards your Vanguard rank, so it should help you level up just a little bit quicker. If you were excited for some major Gambit overhauls or major changes, then you're just out of luck here. There really isn't that much to go over. They addressed how a lot of the changes that they had made in the Witch Queen with the health of the bosses. I can't really remember too much other stuff that they did, but they didn't really like that. It didn't really meet what they were wanting to do as far as the overall change that Gambit should have had, but it still just doesn't sound like the complaints from the community are enough to really do any overhauls. I really think that they're just phasing out Gambit slowly but surely. So the changes that we can expect next season are they're bringing back the Dreaming City map. I can't remember what it's called, but we played on it for a while when Forsaken launched. And they're also adding the Lucent Hive and the Shadow Legion as new enemy races that will fight in each Gambit mode. But that is it. That's the only changes that we're getting for the immediate future. The last ritual update that we'll cover here is, I guess a lot of people were complaining that we didn't get new armor armor sets with Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit. We just had the same ones that we had in the Witch Queen, but they had said that like no one ever uses those, so they didn't really think it was that important. At least that's how I understood it. I agree. I never really care about the Vanguard armor that I get. It's all looks the same as the other 2 ritual activities, and it's not very interesting, so I don't really care. But they did say they are going to be adding a new armor set with a launch of Final Shape, so hey, we got something. We do have a new Trials of Osiris armor set on the way. This is a close-up for the Titan and what it looks like. I think it's coming out next season. And now moving on from ritual activities, let's talk about cheaters. As we all know, a lot of cheating has been happening in PvP this year. I don't want to go too much into detail here because it's just a lot of technical jargon, and at the end of the day, they're working on it. They've addressed it. They know it's an issue, and they've developed new plans to hopefully catch cheaters before they're even able to distribute the cheating software to other people. So they just want to really stop it altogether. That's the goal, at least. We'll see if it actually works out. And almost the same thing goes with game stability. They know it's a huge issue, and each update that they come out with now, they're hoping that it makes it more stable and we won't have to go through these long times or multiple times a week where we just don't have access to the game. One change that's pretty cool here is that the seasonal structure is going to be changing starting next season. We just know the exact structure that we're getting every time a new season comes out, so it's not very exciting, I guess, other than the story that we might get or maybe a new activity that's kind of fun for the first couple days. So they don't want seasons to be predictable. Obviously, that's a good goal. There's not too much to say on it now. They do address something I'll go over just in like a couple minutes on the new season stuff, but still, we don't really know that much about it. Okay, let's rapid fire some quality of life changes that are coming out. These are all good. We all love quality of life changes. Shader favoriting will be a thing, so no more looking through 15 pages to find your favorite shaders. Another big change that is happening, unfortunately way too late, is the way how we acquire stasis fragments and aspects. Most of us have had that done for years now. For new players, it's a good change. This is not going to affect me at all, but if you're a new player and you've been just dreading getting your stasis stuff done or maybe putting it off, then this will be great. You can now buy them all at Ikora, just like the other light subclasses, so it'll make it way easier to acquire all of those for you. Let's see, other changes here. Transmats for your ships will now not be a consumable. I don't know why they were consumables in the first place. They're just going to be a permanently unlocked item like a weapon ornament that you have. The Wishender quest also got some simplifications, it looks like. I don't know exactly what is changing on it other than how they're removing the medallions from your inventory if you haven't cleansed them yet. You know how there's like uncleansed, cleansed tokens. They're just removing that, so maybe you'll just have to run Shattered Throne to get Wishender. I don't know. They're also adding a resource tab in the collections to help you understand what certain resources are, like Ascendant Shards, Enhancement Prisms. It might show you where you get them, but yeah, I mean, this doesn't really help me at all. I think it might help some newer players. Okay, moving on, let's talk about some other stuff that will be getting new next season. As we expected, new Strand aspects are on the way. This is always exciting. It's fun to have new abilities to play around with. We've got Whirling Maelstrom for Hunter, Banner of War for Titan, and Weave Walk for Warlocks. No info is known on what these do yet, but they did say that we should expect info on them before Season 22, which is like any day now, so this should be happening in a upcoming TWID. There will also be some exotic armor overhauls just like we got this season. We don't know what they are yet, but they did say the article will be dropping next week. We also get some weapon tuning stuff. You can check the link. I'll put it in the description where they go over some changes that are happening. I'm personally excited about the hand cannon changes, huge PvP buffs that are happening next season. So we might actually use those now. And the only new change that we got for what we're getting next season in terms of how the seasonal flow works is this quote. It says, "Our next season will be heading into creative territories we've never explored before. We're changing some things up in a big way, including the seasonal progression paradigm with an all new mechanic. All will be revealed on August 22nd. I don't know what that means, but it does sound like some pretty big changes are happening to the seasonal structure at least. Thankfully, again, Bungie will not be upping the Pinnacle cap. There was a lot of positive feedback on this season. I think everybody liked that, and how we didn't have to regrind another 10 levels just like we've done the past million seasons. And lastly, the new exotic mission rotator will be launching, so we can finally start grinding for those craftable exotics like the Hawkmoon and the DMT. And obviously they'll be bringing back the Presage mission, which I've actually never had the opportunity to play. I just never got around to doing it. So I am pumped for that. I've heard that it is one of the best missions out there, and I've never seen any gameplay on it because I wanted to experience it for myself just the first time I run it. And also, Season 23 will launch with the long-awaited in-game LFG Finder, so people will finally be able to find raid and dungeon teams without having to use external stuff like Xbox LFG or Discord communities. I mean, our Discord community is great, so you can join that until then and find your teams there. But in all seriousness, the more people that can run endgame content like Grandmasters, raids, dungeons, I think that's overall better for the game, because I believe a large percentage of the players of this game have never run a raid before. I talk to people all the time in my Discord that they say, hey, this is my first raid, and they just join one of our groups. And they've been playing for years, so that's crazy. We need to get more people raiding in the game. Lastly, just a couple tidbits from the final shape. There's this new Pathfinder feature that's apparently replacing bounties, from what I understand. It's supposed to make it a little bit more engaging, which I guess anything could be more engaging than bounties. I absolutely hate grabbing bounties. I just don't enjoy it at all. I think this image looks cool, at least. Just kind of a bummer that we've got like a prime engram or pinnacle engram at the end there, so hopefully it's something actually worth going for, because I don't know, it looks like it might be a lot of work to unlock this one engram here. But I found the second part to be the most interesting quote of the whole article. Joe says, "To put concerns to rest now, the final shape and its raid will provide a climactic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga before we look ahead to what comes next in Destiny 2. So in my mind, this does bolster the opinion that we're going to get some other massive expansion immediately after the final shape, because of the final raid boss, whatever that is, probably the Witness, is going to be the end of the Light and Darkness saga, 10 years done. I don't know what we're going to do to fill up the entire rest of the year until the next February. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. So there's no way they would have 4 seasons of content. I really think that we're getting some huge expansion that they've been working on secretly behind the scenes, and they're going to drop it maybe 1 season into the final shape. I will say though, with this being the end of the Light and Darkness saga, the raid race, the world first race, is going to be huge. I think this is probably going to be the biggest one that we've ever seen. All right, so thoughts. I'll say first off, I don't think this was like the crazy reveal that everybody was hyping this up to be. It wasn't supposed to be that. All that's going to happen on August 22nd. But even with that said, my opinion on this, I think is just kind of negative still. Like, they didn't really address too much. The PvP changes were not promising at all. I know that's something that is extremely important to big creators that are looking for huge PvP changes to happen. They pretty much said that they're just not going to change that much. Don't get me wrong, not all of it was bad. I do think that some things were great. Some of the quality of life changes are great. I'm very excited that season 22 is supposed to feel a lot different than any other season. That's good news. This alone could breathe some desperately needed life into Destiny 2 and hopefully give it a strong foundation for the final shape. We want a lot of people going into it. But yeah, again, I wasn't expecting too much, because everything is going to be happening on August 22nd, that final shape reveal, which that I am excited for and I have high expectations for, so they better knock it out of the park. I will say that those normally are awesome. They show you a lot of cool stuff that you get to play around with, like Strand last year. Who knows what we'll get this year? There's rumors, leaks of like a new red subclass that might be coming out with the final shape, so who knows, maybe we'll get that too. But at the end of the day, these are great because it just gets more people talking about Destiny, and hopefully in a positive light. I do plan on doing a full recap video of that reveal, hopefully condensing it down just like I'm doing right now. Maybe I'll do a predictions video. Those sound kind of fun. I do have a lot of predictions for what we'll see in that video and in the final shape, but I don't want to keep you guys too long. That's it for this one. Let me know what you all thought in the comments. Did I miss anything? I really tried to condense this down because it was a lot of information, so try to get the most important stuff. But all right, I will see you all in the Discord or in the next video.